Welcome to Tekedia Daily. I'm Ndubuisi, Ekekwe. A conversation today will focus on the business models which we have in Amazon and Alibaba. And I'll be looking at the double play that these companies use in order to create value and accelerate innovation. They are different companies. Let me just run through these numbers first before we move into the double play business models. A few days ago, Alibaba had what they call the Singles Day. And it hit about $25.3 billion on a specific day. In other words, this is the total revenue this company actually made. It's just something that is unbelievable that just within 24 hours, the company can hit this kind of number. And the Chinese are in spenders, despite the fact that Americans will say that China is not spending, that China are not consumers, they are not usually spending their money and buying things. So they have to look for market outside in order for them to find value. But China is indeed spending money. And also, if you look critically here, Amazon and Alibaba have many things in common. They have the logistics, they have the e-tailing, they have also the third-party merchants. These third-party merchants are basically the marketplaces. It makes it possible for them to essentially have the capacity to provide their platforms for people to list and sell, and they take commission. There are building logistical systems that help to improve their capacity to accelerate efficiency in the distribution of items as people are buying them on their products. So, but Alibaba have an edge. It's an asset-light company. In other words, it doesn't necessarily own any inventory, unlike Amazon. Amazon owns inventory of things. Some of those things it sells, but Alibaba doesn't. So Alibaba is more of a marketplace company where these third-party merchants come to sell, and he just makes money collecting his commission. And he has this world-class payment system, the Ant Financial System, which is one of the most celebrated parts of this Alibaba group. So Amazon doesn't have a payment system. It has to rely on other companies. And of course, Amazon is not asset light. So even before Whole Foods was acquired by Amazon, Alibaba has been running supermarkets across China 2 years even before Amazon got into Whole Foods. So what I'm trying to say here is this, that these companies have figured out that e-commerce cannot just exist in a world that remains of atoms. So there needs to be that physical element for us to essentially have the capacity to accelerate and create value, not just for the companies, but also for the customers. So Alibaba runs supermarkets, and Amazon now owns Whole Foods, a top-grade grocery chain in the United States. But you now look through, you see that online shoppers in 2010 in US and China, they were averaging about 140 million. But it's expected that within the next within the next 3 years, that is 2020, that China must have moved to 890 million people, while the US stays at 270 million. Of course, US has a population of about 320 million, while China runs into excess of 1.2 billion people, the largest population in the world. So we see all these things as very big indicators that if you are just playing what these companies are playing, and you are not paying attention to the ecosystem or the environments where they do business, you are going to run into difficulty, because these numbers are just good. They're so nice that they can explore opportunities in them. And when you come to places like Nigeria, you just realize that we don't have the markets. We may have the population, but we have not empowered the citizens to have the spending capacity to actually spend money online and create value for potentially for the entrepreneurs. Now I'm now going into the business model, which I call it the double play. Here, Amazon, it loses money on e-commerce exceedingly, but it makes money via the Amazon cloud services. So what happens here is that provided that it continues to compete vigorously in the markets to make it possible that it can dislodge as many physical stores, pushing them into the digital space. Amazon knows that as most of these companies are moving into the digital space, that it has one of the best cloud hosting company in the world, that it can essentially get some of those businesses. So as you see it vigorously dislodge, as you see vigorously compete, taking out companies in the physical space, taking out retailers in the physical space, as they are transitioning into e-commerce, they are essentially coming to Amazon to rent the computing resources through Amazon Web Services. So they have this double play. And of course, double play is in baseball, it's a defensive play where two players are put out. And it's a very critical part of the baseball game. So it has e-commerce, it has the cloud. And then if you come to Alibaba, it's also two double plays. It has this double play. It has the Ant Financials, which is the payments ecosystem, as well as it has, of course, the e-commerce operations. And of course, these companies are also increasingly moving into new areas. Amazon has moved into the Alexa, the voice operating system, where it makes eco and all kinds of solutions which are going to be running on voice artificial intelligence. Of course, Alibaba is also moving into cloud computing. But the point is this, you don't necessarily do so well as an e-commerce company. You have to augment that e-commerce operation with something. That is really the message here. That if you look at Alibaba and financials, gives it a double play. You buy the item, you pay with Ant Financials ecosystems. Alibaba takes the commission from merchants, and because that payment is being processed by Ant, it also makes another money in that process. And then when you go to Amazon, it is offering the e-commerce operation, but it's also offering the hosting, the cloud computing. It also makes money from that. So at the end, if you do not have such double play strategies, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to run a very successful e-commerce company, because they always have the capacity to run two peer winning products at the same time. And that is what these two category king companies in the e-commerce operation in the world have shown us. You can't do this thing without having the ability to combine, besides the e-commerce, something else that is also very, very successful. You can't just say I'm an e-commerce business and you just run on the e-commerce. It's not going to work. You have to do something to complement that e-commerce. And that is the message. You need to have a double play strategy. You're listening to Tekedia Daily.